Football, £2 billion to own Manchester United. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 21. Goalkeeper, number 1 Van der Sar. Defenders, number 12 Marcelo, number 15 Nemanja Vidic, number 5 Rio Ferdinand, number 6 Brown, number 4 Ramos. Midfielders, number 16 Carrick, number 19 Modric, number 22 Di Maria, number 13 Park Ji-sung. Forward, number 9 Wayne Rooney. After Sky Sports commentator Alan Smith saw this formation, he couldn't help but sigh. Ferguson, what's wrong with this today? With Cristiano on the bench, could it be that Cristiano was injured in last week's league? In fact, let alone Alan Smith, even the commentary of several other broadcast countries is not very understood. Is Zenit strong? Probably serious in Ferguson, huh? Oh, could it be that Zenit is stronger than Chelsea? When facing Chelsea, Ferguson will not arrange such a conservative tactical play. While there was a lot of commentary, the UEFA Super Cup game began. At first, Manchester United played steadily, controlled the ball, and when the ball was lost, they began to press hard. However, with Manchester United's defense retreating relatively farther back, Zenit could easily knock the ball back and could reorganize an effective attack. However, when Zenit's attack reached the Manchester United half, he could not find any gaps. Because Zenit's personal level is a certain gap with Manchester United, Zenit's attack does not pose an effective threat to Manchester United's solid defense. And just like that, the first half of the game ended in an extremely boring process. At halftime, after the players returned to the dressing room, Ferdinand said a little tiredly, "Can't we play more aggressively? Kicking like this, I'm exhausted fast." It has to be said that the player who appeared the most in the first half broadcast footage was Ferdinand, and it is no wonder that he complained so much. In the second half, Cristiano comes on, Carrick takes a break first, right? Ferguson ignored the complaining Ferdinand and went straight to the line to arrange the tactics for the second half. At this time, Carrick suddenly stood up and said, "Coach, I didn't make a mistake in the first half, why change me? Execute the order, don't ask so much," Ferguson said to Carrick mercilessly. Carrick sat there very disappointed, looking at it, and seemed to be very puzzled by Ferguson's arrangement. At this time, Tanwinla sat next to Carrick, put his arm around Carrick's shoulder and said, "Our goal is to win this game. Coach Alex Ferguson has his own arrangements, please trust him." "Chairman, I know, it's just me. I know you want to win games for the team, brother. Take a long-term view. We don't just have to win today, we have more games to win in the future. New tactics need to be tried. And if you lose a game like today, the pressure on me and Coach Alex Ferguson is much greater than yours, isn't it?" After listening to Tanwinla's words, Carrick nodded after taking a long breath and said, "Chairman, I understand. Park Ji-sung, your task is to intercept the opponent, cut off the football, and then, as soon as possible, pass the football to Di Maria or Modric next to you, and hand the football to them." Ferguson did not pay attention to the lost Carrick, but spoke to the other players about the tactics of the second half. After the break, the second half began. For Manchester United, Cristiano Ronaldo replaced Michael Carrick and still stood on the left wing he is most familiar with. The commentators of various countries were excited after seeing Ronaldo appear. "Wow, is Manchester United going to change formation? They are finally going to step up their offensive. Dear audience friends, let's wait and see." However, to everyone's surprise, although Cristiano Ronaldo has gone shopping, Manchester United's style of play has not changed in the slightest. The time of the game, minute by minute, passed. Knowing that the game was in the 80th minute, Zenit pressed on the attack and crossed the ball from the wing to the middle. Nemanja Vidic jumped high to push the ball out, and Modric, who was at the front of the penalty area, stopped the ball with his chest to unload the ball. Then, Modric turned around with a light smash. He looked up and observed, without the slightest hesitation, directly showed the fans his perverted accurate long pass ability, a very coherent long pass. The ball accurately found Rooney, who ran forward desperately. Rooney unloaded the ball steadily with his back while running, and this stoppage shows how solid Rooney's strong and skilled basic skills are. The moment Rooney unloaded the ball, Zenit's trailing centre-back also greeted him. Rooney quickly swept the ball forward, and then it was time for the two to fight for speed. Zenit's centre-back is clearly not as fast as Rooney's, and when he feels he can't catch up with Rooney, he's ready to make a tackle to keep Rooney. The moment he put the tackle down, Rooney kicked the ball out first. Oh my god, how can he be so fast? Is he a 100-meter flyer? My god, it's so fast, fast as a bolt of lightning. At this time, Zenit fans could not help but exclaim, "Oh no, Cristiano, when did he run to that position?" With a shout from the Zenit centre-back, the ball was about to come to Ronaldo's feet. In fact, at the same time that Modric was preparing for a long pass, Ronaldo was already starting at full speed. Ronaldo's speed left the returning Zenit players far behind. At this time, Rooney's crossball was almost at Ronaldo's feet. If Ronaldo can successfully get the ball, there are no other defenders in front of him, only Zenit's goalkeeper. Dangerous, dangerous, very dangerous. This is what is really in the minds of Zenit fans who watched the game live. Zenit's goalkeeper seemed to have sensed something was wrong early on, and while Rooney crossed, he also made a desperate attack, trying to stop the ball before Ronaldo could catch it. Unfortunately, he was still one step slower, and while Ronaldo had the ball, Zenit's goalkeeper knew that there was an empty goal behind him, so he was ready to leave the ball at Ronaldo's feet even if he received a red card. Swish. The Zenit goalkeeper opened his arms and expanded his defensive area, followed by a super sliding tackle 3 meters away towards Cristiano Ronaldo. Ronaldo's gaze has been on the flying ball, but his afterglow seems to have observed the Zenit goalkeeper's moves. So, Ronaldo moved sideways. He did not stop the ball, but directly followed the incoming ball, rubbed the ball directly in place. The height of the ball went exactly past Zenit's goalkeeper, and then Ronaldo ran in a different direction, past the kneeling Zenit goalkeeper, causing him to save. At this time, the fans of Zenit gasped. They looked at the performance of their goalkeeper, and they seemed to be a little desperate. Then, Ronaldo stopped the ball in the air with his chest, and at the top of the arc of the big penalty area, he steadily pushed the ball into Zenit's goal. Ronaldo was very excited, ran excitedly towards the corner flag area, rushed out, and came to celebrate with a passionate skating kneel on the sidelines, leaving 2 deep slip marks on the turf. Episode 22. Chance the moment Tan Wenla saw Rooney crossing across, he grabbed the arm of Ferguson, who was sitting next to him. Ronaldo, even by the beauty of Ka, enter. At the same time that Cristiano Ronaldo pushed the ball into the goal, the Manchester United bench also boiled, and the substitutes stood up one after another, screaming and shouting excitedly. Tan Wenla and Ferguson, the old and young, also rushed out of the coach's dugout excitedly at the same time. Ferguson waved his arms vigorously and cheered excitedly. As a result, as soon as Ferguson turned his head, he saw Tan Wenla without the slightest pause, and directly rushed to Cristiano Ronaldo, who was celebrating in the corner flag district. Sky Sports commentary, go, Cristiano, come in, go in, it's almost a lure. Unbelievable when almost everyone thought the game was going to go into extra time. They hit all of us in the face with a super fast counterattack. This counterattack is really too fast. The whole process seems to be only 10 seconds. This goal is really not to say, too sharp. Oh, let's see who this is? Isn't this the right chairman for Manchester United? Oh, I can't imagine that the chairman of Manchester United has rushed into the stadium excitedly and hugged Ronaldo to celebrate. Scored, boss, I'm in. Ronaldo, who scored the goal, was very excited. He seemed to feel that his body was burning with a roaring flame, and his whole body was boiling like fire. Tan Wenla and Ronaldo hugged passionately. In the eyes of Tan Wenla, this strategy, and tactics designated by him as the initiative, can help him score a golden goal at the most critical moment. Tan Wenla feels really incomparably happy, incomparably cool, as if drinking a cup of iced sour plum soup in the hot summer, like being surrounded by warmth in the bitter cold. Cool, new flying. By the time the Manchester United players finish celebrating, there may not be much time left for the Zenit players. Tan Wenla and Ferguson were shouting madly in the coach's dugout. Tan Wenla even thought about the fourth official shouting. The time for the game had arrived, and the substitute players on the side were clasping their hands and jumping. Eventually, with a whistle from the referee, the game was over. Manchester United beat Zenit St. Petersburg 1-0 as they lifted their second title of the new season. The winner of the UEFA Super Cup belongs to Manchester United. After the game, all the media reporters gathered at the post-match press conference. This time, Tan Wenla and manager Alex Ferguson attended the press conference together with Manchester United's goal-scoring hero Cristiano Ronaldo. Hello, I'm a reporter from French Football Weekly. May I ask Coach Alex Ferguson, this game, Manchester United's possession rate hit a new low for the new season. What do you think of this data? Is it a deliberate arrangement before the game? Ferguson smiled, leaned over to the microphone and began to answer. In this game, we have 13 effective crosses, 18 threatening passes, 5 shots on goal. Well, only 1 shot on target, the one that Cristiano scored, although it seemed like we were not in control. On the whole, we controlled the game and the game was going towards our expectations. Thank you. Hello, I'm a reporter from Sky Sports. Excuse me, why did Chairman Tan appear in the coaching staff for today's game? Ferguson said with a smile. The chairman's understanding of football tactics is even stronger than some other football players. I asked the chairman to join the coaching staff, and the chairman will also participate in the daily training of the Manchester United team as a coaching staff in the future, and even the on-the-spot command of the game. So, can you ask Chairman Tan to share your views on this game? Ferguson glanced at Tan Wenla, saw Tan Wenla nodded, and handed the microphone to Tan Wenla. I am very satisfied with the performance of our players in this game. They executed the manager's pre-match arrangement very well. Today's game, maybe they played very hard, they may not be playing their best, but, after all, the league has just begun, we are running. I believe that in the near future, Manchester United will become stronger and better. Our players, there are very young and talented players, there are also experienced, unique veterans, of course, we also have Cristiano, Kaka, Rooney, and other big players who are incomprehensible. They are Manchester United's powerful capital, the pride of Manchester United fans. I believe we have unlimited possibilities. From now on, Manchester United's Red Storm is about to sweep across Europe. When Tan Wenla finished speaking, the reporter immediately continued to raise his hand and asked, Chairman Tan, since you mentioned Kaka, may I ask, you spent a lot of money to introduce Kaka, but he underwent injury surgery. What do you think of this transfer deal? Was it United's decision-making mistake, or was Kaka's injury not known to Manchester United's senior management before the transfer? Hehe, Kaka before the transfer, we knew his situation very well. Without your mouth Kaka hiding the injury, if it were not for Kaka's injury, I think €15 would not have been able to bring Kaka to Old Trafford. After Tan Wenla's speech, the reporters below were instantly in an uproar. According to Tan Wenla's meaning, if Kaka is not injured, AC Milan does not plan to release Kaka for €150 million? Oh my god, when did the current player become so valuable? Before Kaka joined, Torres' transfer to Liverpool's £5,000 was already a transfer record. But who would have thought that just a few days after Torres arrived, Manchester United announced the introduction of Kaka for €150 million. This makes the transfer of Holy Child Torres seem so insignificant. Congratulations to Manchester United for winning the second title of the new season, Manchester Post. The Premier League team has successfully won the European Super Cup. Manchester United has changed its usual tactical play of pursuing efficient defensive counterattacks, and the future Manchester United is terrifying. The Times. Manchester United's chairman is a member of the coaching staff. Such a Chinese chairman is really joyful and worrying. The Sun. Episode 23. After Manchester United won the UEFA Super Cup, they will return home to face Liverpool. Whether Manchester United's winning streak in the new season will end in the hands of Liverpool, let's wait and see. The day before the match against Liverpool, Tan Wenla received a call from Hollywood, USA. Kevin, what's wrong? Boss, the North American release of the Iron Man movie has been set for October 10th. Oh, okay, I see. Boss, premiere, are you coming? What time? Well, on September 22nd. September 22nd? Tan Wenla thought for a moment. Manchester United away to Chelsea on the 20th, and the 22nd seemed to be able to go. Okay, I'll ask David to help me book a ticket to Los Angeles on the 21st. Heller, boss, just right. You are here to get an idea for our next movie casting. Well, didn't I say that you can just watch and do these things? Hey boss, although you said so, but after all, you are the boss of the company. I already have a plan. When the time comes, you come to see, chat, get an idea. Okay, then I'll listen to your arrangements then. Then, Tan Wenla hung up Kevin's phone, and at this time, David just walked in from outside. Boss, the head of IMG is here. Do you see it convenient for you now? Invite them in. Okay. Boss, this is the head of IMG, Mr. Scripps Marx. Max, this is the owner of our club, Mr. Tan Wenla. Hello Chairman Tan, I'm also a Manchester United fan. Max said enthusiastically with his hand outstretched. Tan Wenla shook Marx's hand politely and said, hello, nice to meet you, Mr. Max. After the two sides chatted politely, Tan Wenla preconceived and said, Mr. Max, how did the board of directors of your company consider the acquisition I proposed? Chairman Tan, the shareholders of the board of directors have collectively agreed to your $12 billion acquisition plan. And I have come here today and have brought the formalities with me. Saying that, Max took out the contract prepared in advance and handed it to David. David took the contract very sensibly and went to someone to verify. Chairman Tan, since you acquired our IMG company, what are your plans for the future of the company? How is IMG doing now? Max replied, Chairman Tan, then let me explain to you the main business scope of IMG and the current business situation. IMG is a manager or consultant for the world's top athletes, performing artists, writers, fashion models, radio show hosts and celebrities, large multinational corporations, world events, cultural organizations, leisure resorts, etc. It has 78 branches in 38 countries and employs more than 2,000 people. Our main business models can be broadly divided into three types. The first is to serve athletes and help them reap the benefits of sports services, including athletes' transfer fee negotiations, athletes' salary negotiations, and their contract signing in sports-related fields. The second is to help its contracted athletes connect with commercial sponsorship advertisements. In the process, the company can take a considerable commission. The third is to participate in the planning and promotion of the event, through TV broadcasting, advertising recommendation and other ways of promotion, hold the competition, so as to obtain revenue. IMG's annual operating profit reached $460 million last year. Among them, the media copyright income is $130 million. The media production and distribution income is $120 million. The event income is $120 million, and the brokerage income is $9,000. Now the company has many artists, such as golf Grand Slam player Tiger Woods, tennis Sharapova, Djokovic, Federer, F1 like Schumacher, and so on. After Max's explanation, Tan Wenla was simply surprised by IMG company, which sounded much more powerful than David told himself. Such a company, $12 billion acquisition is simply too cheap. Max, that's right, I don't have any other requirements for IMG. I just want to find some good business partners for my team's players, and under David's suggestion, I have the idea of acquiring IMG, but I think that in the future, the development direction of IMG can continue to expand in a big direction, and after that, the CEO of IMG will continue to be served by you. I only ask of you, Manchester United players, I can get them all to sign under IMG, I hope you can set up a team to be responsible for the commercial operation and planning of Manchester United players. Max listened and said, "No problem, Chairman Tan, you can rest assured that IMG is very confident in the operation of the players." Then I wish us a happy cooperation, Chairman Tan said and smiled. "The relationship between you and me will soon be an employment relationship. How can it be said that it is cooperation? It should be that I have to do my best to do things for the boss. Ha ha ha." After signing the contract with IMG, Tan Wenla's commercial module was once again added. At this time, the comprehensive entertainment empire planned in Tan Wenla's heart seems to have begun to take shape. Now, it is to build Manchester United better and more perfectly. The English Premier League is not better than the other four major leagues, as the so-called, the Premier League has no weak team. In the Premier League, no team dares to guarantee that they can win 100% before the game. Even against a weaker team, there is a high chance of being upset. This is the Premier League. On September 13th, Manchester United visited Liverpool, and the double red meeting of the new season is about to begin. This year's Liverpool also spent a lot of money to bring in the golden boy, Holy Child Torres. However, for the current Liverpool, Tan Wenla still has nothing to fear. After all, in the current Manchester United, where is the team's hard power? And the bench is also very deep, although it has just played a European Super Cup final with Zenit. However, Ferguson now has enough cards in hand for him to field another squad to deal with Liverpool. In this game, Ferguson set up a 433 formation. The goalkeeper is still Van der Sar. The four defenders are Patrice Evra, Raphael, Peake and O'Shea. Midfielders, Anderson, Carrick, Scholes. Forwards, Nani, Ronaldo, Giggs. Episode 24. Sky Sports commentator, after seeing Manchester United's lineup, couldn't help but sigh. This season's Manchester United, it's simply a bit outrageously powerful. 8 players have been rotated, but after the rotation, how do you feel that they seem to be the main force in this game? Tan Wenla, who was wearing a casual sportswear, still sat next to Ferguson, and he also began to chew gum like Ferguson. This old and young man on the sidelines, chewing neatly with his mouth, gives people a feeling of indescribable discord. The enthusiasm of the fans at Anfield Stadium is no weaker than that of Old Trafford, and in the turbulent waves, Tan Wenla is surprisingly quiet this time. With the referee blowing the start whistle, Liverpool's double match against Manchester United was officially on. Liverpool have a record of 3 wins and 1 draw in the new season and are currently second in the table. Their opponents, Manchester United, are currently at the top of the table with a winning record for the new season. Although the season has just begun, the matchup between Liverpool and Manchester United, also known as the battle that affects the final title, has been very cautious at first. In the first 10 minutes, you came and went to test each other, and there was no effective opportunity. When the game came to the 11th minute, Liverpool captain Gerrard took the ball in the midfield to get rid of, and suddenly pulled out his foot and shot angrily 40 seconds away from the goal, although the ball hit high, but this shot hit Liverpool's momentum. Next, Liverpool began to step up the pressing up front, and Anderson made a mistake in moving the ball and was tackled by Alonso. After Alonso broke the ball, he handed the ball directly to the feet of Torres, who was retreating to receive him. After Torres took the ball, he turned around, feinted past 3 defenders in succession, and finally, was hit to the ground by Peake using his body in front of the box. As a result, Liverpool were given a well-placed free-kick opportunity. Unfortunately, Gerrard's shot, the ball once again went high over the crossbar. In this game, Torres was unusually active, constantly dribbling the ball in the half of Manchester United, looking for opportunities to break through. In just a few minutes, 2 of United's team have been shown yellow cards for defending Torres. In the 34th minute of the game, Liverpool goalkeeper Reina drove the ball out with his big foot, ready to find Torres in front, but unfortunately, Reina's power was a little too great, and the ball went straight towards Manchester United defender Raphael. Torres seemed to have given up and rushed to grab it, but the accident happened inexplicably. Raphael misjudged the landing point of the incoming ball, and the ball bounced in front of him, and Raphael rose to the top. Seeing this, Torres hurriedly followed the press, and Raphael also turned around to chase, probably because the turf was a little slippery, plus Raphael turned around a little anxiously. After he made a slight physical contact with Torres, Raphael slipped on his feet and lay on the turf. Torres managed to control the ball and hit the far corner in front of Van der Sar's goal, giving Liverpool a 1-0 lead at home. Subsequently, Manchester United began to strengthen the attack in front. Cristiano Ronaldo hit the goal with 2 consecutive kicks, both of which were very threatening, but although Manchester United gained momentum during this time, they did not score. Instead, Liverpool seized a chance to counterattack, and it was Torres, who dribbled the ball straight to Manchester United's goal. Peake stepped forward to block. Torres made a bicycle change of direction and began to accelerate. Peake knew that he couldn't catch up with Torres, but he couldn't watch him get a point in front of him like this, right? So, Peake went straight to the ball at Torres' feet with a large gambling tackle. Beep. The referee's whistle sounded and Liverpool got a penalty. By this time, the Anfield fans had completely laughed. Torres' performance also attracted applause from many fans at the scene. Subsequently, Liverpool's penalty was personally handled by captain Steven Gerrard, and the ball hit steadily, giving Liverpool a 2-0 lead at home to Manchester United. Tan Wenla, who was sitting in the coach's seat, rubbed his cheeks vigorously with both hands, and then asked Ferguson next to him, "Old man, what should I do if I encounter such a situation during the game?" After hearing Tan Wenla's words, Ferguson directly got up and ran towards the sidelines, shouting loudly to the players on the field, "Anderson, try to step forward and stick to him. Torres, defense, don't give him room to turn around. Force him to knock the ball back with his back. Peak and Raphael, mistakes don't matter. Don't think about mistakes now. Stand in a good position, observe their ball route. Cristiano, be active in the front court. You 3 more cross-transposition to find a neutral fork." After Ferguson finished shouting to the players on the field, he returned to his place and sat down, then picked up the water bottle and took a sip of water. If the team encounters this situation, as a coach, first of all, you can't shake yourself. You have to find out the team's problems as quickly as possible and point them out. Otherwise they don't know how to play the next game. After hearing this, Tan Wenla gave a thumbs up to Ferguson and said, "Old man, the kid has been taught." The corners of Ferguson's mouth twitched slightly, and he said with a smile, "You sat here and watched for a long time. Did you see any problems? If you were asked to command, what do you think should be done now? What adjustments should we make in the midfield?" I think wait. Before Tan Wenla could say what he thought, there was a change on the field. Van der Sar headed the goal, the ball was passed to Peak, who handed the ball to Scholes in midfield. Scholes looked up and made eye contact with Nani on the front line, passing and running just right, tearing Liverpool's defense straight from the ribs. Liverpool's goalkeeper Reina saw that his teammates were unresponsive to the ball, so he abandoned the goal himself and made a side save to try to stop the ball. However, Nani was extremely fast, and before Reina was about to save the ball, he preemptively dialed the ball, and he was directly put on the ground by Reina, hesitating to be in the penalty area. The referee on duty blew the whistle decisively and awarded United a penalty opportunity. After hearing the referee's decision, Tan Wenla excitedly waved his fist on the sidelines. Ferguson, on the other hand, seemed very calm, turning his head and whispering something to the assist coach. Episode 25. United temporarily trailed 1-2 in the first half. At halftime, Ferguson angrily expressed his dissatisfaction to the players, and the Manchester United players were all silent and afraid to make a sound under Ferguson's roar. "Rooney, you go on in the second half. Giggs, take a break. Park Ji-sung, you replace Anderson. Go up in the second half and lock up Torres in midfield. I don't care what method you use. I don't want to see Torres like in the first half, crazy with the ball and turn around. And then, collapse our backline, understand?" Park Ji-sung answered to Ferguson very honestly, "Yes, coach." "Cristiano, in the second half, I allow you and Rooney to have privileges. You two don't have to go back to the halftime defense, although the pressure at the back will be heavier. But, it doesn't matter. You two give me the second half to attack their 2 wings. I want you to completely crush their wing, understand?" "Understood," Ronaldo and Rooney responded. "Okay, kids, cheer up. I don't want to lose points at Anfield. You have to be better than Liverpool. Show me all your talents." Ferguson then continued to applaud the players, trying to cheer them on. Under Alex Ferguson's mobilization, Manchester United's players seemed to be more combative. The second half of the game began, with Liverpool kicking off first. However, at the moment of kickoff, Cristiano Ronaldo and Wayne Rooney stepped forward in unison. For a while, the whole Manchester United seemed to be scrappy. The Sky Sports explainer also said, "Wow, Manchester United started the second half with a fierce press. It seems that even if they play away, Manchester United do not want to leave with a bad scoreline." However, after 60 minutes into the second half, although Manchester United gradually controlled the situation, it was still difficult to pry open the door of Liverpool. "Di Maria, come." Ferguson called Di Maria, who was doing a warm-up activity, to his side. "You replace Nani, make some more breaks from the right wing. Cross, go up and tell Cristiano, let him lean more into the box and scramble for headers." "Well, got it, coach. Tell Scholes to try more straight balls in the ribs and have a chance to play some long-range shots." "Okay, go. Come on, kid." When there was another dead ball on the pitch, Di Maria came off the bench and whispered a few words with Cristiano Ronaldo and Scholes while he came on. After hearing Di Maria's words, the two seemed to understand it. Manchester United took the ball out of bounds, and Evra on the left flank took the penalty. He threw the ball to Park Ji-sung, who came to receive it in midfield. Park Ji-sung returned the ball to Peak, and Peak did not hesitate to transfer the ball directly to the right side to O'Shea. O'Shea pushed forward with the ball and handed it to Di Maria in front. O'Shea probably wanted to make a wall match with Di Maria, and after the ball, O'Shea struggled to run forward, and then involved Mascherano. Who knows, the next moment of super genius, Di Maria's performance began. He took the ball on the wing, turned lightly, and began to dribble forward, and his light and agile posture made him throw off Binayong and Alonso, and when facing Liverpool's backline, Di Maria cleverly rubbed the ball over the top and the ball crossed the entire Liverpool backline. Rooney's quick fork is quick and he is facing the ball directly sideways with a blast. Reina also made a limit save in the face of Rooney's shot, but Rooney's shot was too fast. Reina could not react, and watched the ball enter the net. United equalized the score in the 68th minute of the second half. However, the next game seems to have become Di Maria's personal performance. His breakthrough is not as fancy as Ronaldo. He often only uses the simplest and most practical movements to find the space for breakthrough, and can even directly use speed to eat Alvaro Arbeloa raw. Liverpool's defense was a bit embarrassed by Di Maria. Soon, Liverpool suffered a terrible price. Alvaro Arbeloa was sent off for his second yellow card of the game because of his excessive action while staring against Di Maria. Manchester United were also on the right flank and had a well-placed free kick opportunity. Scholes stood in front of the ball, ready to take the free kick. Scholes raised his hand to several players in the box, then began to run. The ball drew a line in the air, flew into the Liverpool penalty area, and the ball accurately found Cristiano Ronaldo inside. Cristiano Ronaldo jumped high, pressed Carragher, and slammed a powerful header into Liverpool's gate. Manchester United overtook it. The score came to 3-2. In the following game, Manchester United played more and more steadily, and Ferguson also commanded the sidelines. Park, don't retreat when defending, push forward. Carrick, hold steady, hold the ball at your feet as much as possible. Oshie, Fark, what the fuck are you looking at? How can this ball get them crossed? The game is coming to an end and Liverpool don't seem to be giving up. They were still fighting aggressively to try to equalize the scoreline. However, the numerical disadvantage made the players on the field have more than enough and insufficient strength. However, under the leadership of Gerrard, Liverpool are still fighting tenaciously. Tanwinla on the sidelines looked at Gerrard, who ran without sparing any effort, and muttered, "Such a captain is really likable. Don't think about it, you can't buy him, and I won't let you buy him." At this time, Ferguson on the sidelines turned around and said something to Tanwinla inexplicably. "Fight back, send directly to the front, find Cristiano fast." Manchester United made a tackle in front of the box and Di Maria's successive guards picked the ball and handed it to Carrick. At this time, most of Liverpool's players were pressed in the half of Manchester United. Carrick kicked a precise long pass, and the ball accurately found Cristiano Ronaldo lurking in front. Cristiano Ronaldo is incredibly fast, and in front of Liverpool's only remaining centre-back, Scott L. Scott Tell is tall, but slow to turn. Cristiano Ronaldo's left heel cleverly changed direction with a knock, directly cut inside to face the Liverpool goal, and then pulled out his foot and shot angrily. The ball was like a missile, without the slightest rotation, straight to the dead corner of the goal. Manchester United were in the final stages of the game, and the score was 4-2. This also completely buried Liverpool's belief in equalizing, and the game ended without suspense. Episode 26. On the bus back from the team, Tanwinla sat next to Ferguson and asked, "Old man, Ben, why don't you let me buy Gerrard?" Ferguson rubbed Tanwinla's head with his hand and said affectionately, "Hee. This is part of football culture. Manchester United, Liverpool for the Premier League, are all flag teams. A good captain like Gerrard will not betray Liverpool in his lifetime, just like Michael Carrick and Scholes, who will only play for Manchester United, even if they have to be sold for reasons at club level. But they will not be sold to Premier League teams, let alone to us. Because, if that happens, the fans won't spare them in the first place." After hearing Ferguson's explanation, Tanwinla roughly understood. "Oh, so if David Beckham wants to go back to the Premier League, he can only choose Manchester United?" Ferguson's gloomy eyes glared at Tanwinla. Tanwinla quickly lowered his head and was a little afraid to speak. "You like David? It's okay. When I first started watching the game, it was already the 92nd class. I didn't go through the Cantona period, but I watched some previous replays. Manchester United is really strong under your guidance." "Oh, is it powerful?" "Oh, I think so too. I dedicated my lower body to Manchester United. I have long regarded Manchester United as my own team. For Manchester United, I can do whatever I want." "Old man, you are a great coach. It is my honor to work with you. Meeting you may be the luckiest thing in my life." Hey old man, when you retire in the future, help me bring the children of Huaxia to play football?" Tanwinla looked at Ferguson with a smile and said. Ferguson glanced at Tanwinla angrily and said, "Are you planning to let me work for you until death?" "Well, I didn't mean that, but it's pretty much the same anyway, ha ha ha." Syllable. Ferguson slapped Tanwinla crisply on the back of the head. This crisp sound attracted the discussion of the Manchester United players behind, probably because they won today, and the Manchester United players sitting on the bus were talking and laughing. "Old man, David is also old, and he is not far from retirement. You want him back?" "How can I say that he is also a meritorious player of Manchester United? You single-handedly cultivated it. Can you bear to let him retire in other countries?" Manchester United don't need players who don't have a role. If he has a role for Manchester United, can he buy it back? After listening to Tanwinla's words, Ferguson silently closed his eyes and did not continue. Hey old man, if you don't speak, I will acquiesce to you. Is IMG planning to sign David?" Tanwinla, I don't care how you run or plan your business landscape. I just ask that Manchester United players have the conviction to win the championship for the team and to ensure that you are in good competitive condition. On September 20th, Manchester United visited Stamford Bridge to face Chelsea. Chelsea are undeservedly Manchester United's biggest trouble in the Premier League at this stage, with the two sides fighting fiercely for 90 minutes before ending 2-2. Manchester United's winning streak in the new season also ended in Chelsea's hands. After the match against Chelsea, Tanwinla flew to Los Angeles, USA. In front of Los Angeles International Airport, Kevin and Max were waiting here. Kevin learned about his boss through David Gill and bought the world's largest brokerage company. Originally, Kevin was still helping to contact some local brokerage companies, but he didn't expect that Tanwinla would buy IMG so quickly. Now that he already owns IMG, Kevin feels that there is no need to acquire other brokerage companies. Boss, after Kevin saw Tanwinla coming out of the VIP passage, he shouted loudly, "Kevin Max, why are you here too? Oh my god, my dear boss, don't you know yet?" IMG's headquarters are also in Los Angeles. Tanwinla scratched his head a little embarrassed, revealing a faint smile to hide his embarrassment. "Boss, I've already arranged the hotel for you. Shall we go back to the hotel to rest first, or visit the Marvel studio first?" "It's still early, let's go to Marvel studio first." "Okay, boss, please over here." "Oh, Kevin, magnificent, this is your car." After Tanwinla left the airport, he was taken by Kevin to an elegant Rolls-Royce Phantom. Although Tanwinla does not know what model this Rolls-Royce is, he knows the little golden man at the front of the Rolls-Royce. Kevin sneered, "Boss, you think too highly of me. Where can I drive such an expensive car? This is Max's car." Tanwinla turned his head to look at Max, who had been silent beside him. As a result, Max said a little embarrassed, "Boss, this is your car, huh?" Tanwinla was a little puzzled. IMG is also a large brokerage company. Usually the company needs to travel a lot of activities, so the company has a lot of business cars. These cars belong to IMG company, naturally belong to the boss you. "Oh, so it is." Saying that, Tanwinla boarded this luxurious Rolls-Royce. Tanwinla sat in the car, looked around. Seriously, Tanwinla, who is a person for 2 lifetimes, is the first time to sit in a luxury car of more than 1 million. When he was in Manchester, David usually drove his own car to pick himself up, and David's car was just a top-equipped A6, compared with such a luxurious Rolls-Royce. Sit up, roar, feel AB smell. The lavish Rolls-Royce came to the Wells building in Burbank. Marvel's studio is located on the 2nd floor of the Wells Tower. Tanwinla was led by Kevin to visit Marvel Studios, which evolved from the previous Marvel Studios and produced some TV series and cartoons, but after restructuring, it will mainly make movies. In their future plans, the future Marvel will have 3 major parts: the comics department, responsible for the production and sales of comics, and Stan Lee is in charge. Episode 27. The Toys Division, responsible for the production and sale of toys and peripheral products, is led by Adela. The Film and Television Department is responsible for the production of the film, and Kevin, who is the president, is in charge, and all their film promotion and distribution affairs are also handled by Kevin. This time the attention of Iron Man has skyrocketed. Originally Marvel's investment is just a general investment in a huge superhero blockbuster. Every year Hollywood will have more than a dozen of these movies set up for release. Who wants to stand out? Get attention depends on their own publicity means. However, after Marvel was acquired by Tanwen, Marvel Studios' cash flow instantly exploded, and Kevin increased his publicity before the release of Iron Man. Under Kevin's crazy operation, Iron Man has become one of the most anticipated movies in North America. Marvel Studio. In the president's office, Kevin handed him a list of actors. Tanwenla said, "Boss, here is the cast list of Iron Man 2, take a look." Tanwenla looked at the dazzling actor's name, and suddenly felt a little confused. He glanced at Kevin and said, "Is there a picture?" Oh, yes, boss, wait a minute." Kevin quickly took out a stack of photos from his copywriting cabinet, and then introduced Tanwenla one by one. In fact, after Tanwenla saw the photo, he didn't need Kevin to continue to introduce himself. Tanwenla is confident that he can recognize all the actors of the Avengers, but this meow for Mao so many people? Fortunately, Kevin was still next to him and kept explaining to himself. It turned out that this was not the final confirmed list, and there were some lists of candidates. Like this Kate Beckinsale, isn't this the heroine who starred in the Legend of the Night series? What's even more shocking is that there is an Oscar actress here, Charlize Theron. Tanwenla picked up Charlize Theron's photo and looked at Kevin and asked, "This also the actor you chose?" After taking a look at the photo of Charlize Theron, Kevin nodded and confirmed, "That's right. When I was filming Iron Man before, I talked to her about this role, and although Charlize was very interested in this role, but what? However, she is a bit expensive to pay." Kevin smiled blandly. Tanwenla shook his head helplessly and said, Can it be expensive? For a movie you took out on a loan like this, can you invite her? When you first talked to her, what role were you going to put her in?" "Just it's the heroine Virginia Pepper Potts." "Pepper?" Tanwenla looked at Charlize's photo and began to think how to feel that Charlize's temperament is much stronger than Gwyneth Paltrow. And Kevin next to Tanwenla didn't understand. What does little chili pepper mean? It's not interesting, Kevin. You said that if the second part changes the heroine, will it have an impact on the entire reconnection column? There will be more or less. The problem is that Iron Man 1 has not yet been released, and I can't say what the box office will be like now. Are you worried about the box office? Kevin slagged and said, "Boss, how can I not worry? I don't want to be laid off." "You, alas, you said that if the first substitution is remade, how long will it take you to make it?" "What? Boss, what did you just say?" Kevin's eyes widened as if he was about to fall to the ground, and he looked at Tan Wenla with a look of monsters. "I said how long does it take to change and remake?" Tan Wenla looked at Kevin with a serious look and said. Tan Wenla said cheerfully, "Could it be that your words are not clearly expressed? Kevin doesn't understand English?" "Hey Kevin, the boss is talking to you." Max, who was standing next to Kevin, gently pushed Kevin and called, "Huh? Oh boss, sorry this matter, mainly I have not experienced it before, and I didn't react for a while. So now let you go through the experience. Come, tell me how much does Charlize's salary cost? How long does it take to remake?" Charlize's salary is $1,800 US. The first heroine scene is still not much, and there is no scene that needs special production by computer. If you just take out the heroine scene and reshoot, there is early production experience, the speed will be very fast, plus the post-editing. It can be produced in about half a month. However, boss, because there are a lot of people involved in a play, if the heroine is changed, many actors and staff will have to return to the scene. In this way, it is not something that 1800W can solve at all. Kevin, throw away the money, just about the actors, who do you think is more suitable for the two of them? Boss, of course, Charlize is more suitable, she is my first choice for the heroine, but at the time boss, are you really going to reshoot? Well, do you calculate now, how much money will you have to lose if you reshoot? Of course, Gwyneth Paltrow's salary will be paid as usual, big, about 4 to 50 million US too. Well, 450 million is okay. Then it's so decided, you go to Charlize, and see if she is willing to act. After Kevin listened, he quickly said, "Boss, I'll call now." "You wait a minute." Kevin, who had just run out, ran back in a few seconds. "Max, isn't Charlize your artist? Would you just find someone to tell her?" Kevin said breathlessly. Hey, how embarrassed am I to rob you of credit?" Max said with a smile. Max's move also attracted a roll of Kevin's eyes. Then Max took out his mobile phone and dialed Charlize's agent. "Boss, Miss Charlize did not disclose her intention to cooperate with this film, but Miss Charlize said that she would like to meet you to talk about it. She wants to see me?" Tan Wenla said with some surprise. "Max, then you can arrange it." "Boss, there is a movie promotion event tomorrow night, which is organized by our IMG company, and when the time comes, Miss Charlize will attend." Max preached to Tan Wenla very respectfully. "Okay, then arrange for me to meet the two tomorrow night." Episode 28. On the second day, Tan Wenla came to the MGM hotel with Max and Kevin. Tan Wenla just entered the hotel and saw the propaganda poster at the door. Twilight premiere. Tan Wenla looked at Bella's propaganda poster and was a little out of his mind for a while. Kristen Stewart played by Bella. At first sight is like seeing a beautiful girl in a fairy tale, beautiful Peugeot, fresh and charming, casual and natural, slightly pale and weak, a literary atmosphere, and a little cold, a little melancholy, very tasteful. "Boss, let's go inside," Max reminded from the sidelines. "Oh, go." The trio then entered the MGM hotel. As soon as Tan Wenla entered here, he saw many international stars that he could only see in movies before. There are many people who are constantly waving and hugging Max and Kevin. "Hey Max," at this time, a very bloated-looking old man hugged Max. "Alas, Mr. George, I haven't seen you for a long time. How's it going? What new works have been written recently?" "Hey, I've been busy publishing new volumes of new books lately. I'm very tired, and I just came out today to relax." George smiled and said to Max. "Max, who is this Oriental child? Why haven't you seen it before?" "Mr. George, this is our new boss of IMG, Mr. Tan Wenla." Max introduced George enthusiastically. "Dalmeka, he's your new boss?" Hello, aha." This fat man with European and American characteristics took the initiative to shake hands with Tan Wenla enthusiastically. "Boss, this is George Raymond Richard Martin, a famous American writer, editor, TV writer, and producer. There are many representative works of Mr. George, all of which have won awards." Tan Wenla looked at Max and then at George, and asked tentatively, "A Song of Ice and Fire? Wow, you actually know this novel, little friend. It seems that you are also interested in the novel." "Mr. George, I very much like this novel. But, alas, he knows that it doesn't seem to be over yet. I'm really curious about the ending." Tan Wenla held George's hand and said with some excitement. Tan Wenla's excitement is not because the novel is not finished. Tan Wenla is excited that this novel called A Song of Ice and Fire was later changed into a popular fantasy masterpiece, Game of Thrones. That may disappoint you. This series is honest. I haven't finished writing this series until now, but the 5th volume is already planning to publish, and it won't be long before I'm sure you'll be able to see it. Mr. George, take the liberty of asking, have the film and television rights to your novel been sold?" George shook his head and said, "Not yet. Many people have asked me about buying the copyright of film and television dramas, but I have never thought of selling the film and television rights of A Song of Ice and Fire. It's a pity, such a good work. Why don't you let him make a film and television drama? I think it must be shocking to move the plot of the novel to the screen." For some reason, George seemed to feel that Tan Wenla was very kind, put his arm around his shoulder and said, "I also hope that he can send a shocking effect, but I am more worried saying this." George slightly bowed his head and leaned into Tan Wenla's ear and said, I am more worried that those capitalists will ruin my life's work. Hey old man, how about you sell it to me, huh? George's original arm around Tan Wenla immediately let go, and then he took a step back and said, huh? Sell to you? After saying this, he looked at Max next to Tan Wenla and said, young man, even if you have IMG, but you are an agency, promotion is your strength. For film and television production, it's not that I look down on your financial ability, it's that I hope to make the Song of Ice and Fire have a stronger production team. Boss, Mr. George, let's find a place to sit and talk at this time. Max seemed to know Tan Wenla's thoughts, so he took the two to a quieter corner and sat down. Boss, you talk to Mr. George first, I'll go find a friend. Max stood in front of Tan Wenla and said very respectfully. Tan Wenla nodded slightly to Max. After leaving Tan Wenla's sight, Max quickly found Kevin Feige, who was talking to a group of stars about his future life. Hey Kevin, the boss told you to come over. Max suddenly appeared behind Kevin and said coldly. Kevin was holding a glass of champagne in his hand and was about to take a sip when he suddenly heard Max's words, which startled Kevin. The boss called me? Kevin looked back at Max with a serious face and said. Max nodded to Kevin very calmly. Seeing this, Kevin quickly said to several people next to him, sorry, lose company. Boss, where is it? Kevin asked. Max did not speak, but directly stretched out his finger in one direction. Kevin patted Max on the shoulder, and then trotted away. After Kevin left, Max pulled out his phone. Hello, hasn't Miss Charlize arrived at the scene yet? Well, I'm waiting for her in the drawing room. A few minutes later, at the door of the living room, an enchanting silhouette walked over under the gaze of everyone. This person is the heartthrob, enchanting stunner Charlize Theron. Hello, Mr. Max. Charlize raised a smile at Max that was enough to turn everyone upside down. Boss, let's talk about things inside now. You need to wait here for a while. Charlize shrugged his smooth shoulders and said, yes, who calls him the boss? In the living room, Kevin trotted all the way back to Tan Wenla's side, and said with a slight gasp, boss, are you looking for me? Tan Wenla saw Kevin, who was slightly panting, and then smiled slightly, and said in his heart, Max is really obedient and can do things. Old man, let me introduce you to a friend, Kevin Feige. Kevin saw George next to Tan Wenla. He obviously knew old man George. You are also here, you see. I see you old in this busy way. George looked at the two with a puzzled expression. You know? Oh, Mr. George, you don't know yet. This is our new boss of Marvel Studios, Mr. Tamboon Locke. George's fat old face looked at Tan Wenla with an incredulous expression. Episode 29. Even by Ka, Mr. Tan, I really faux pas just now, and I'm very sorry for my ignorance. Old man, where are you talking about? I can also be regarded as a relationship with you. In our Chinese language, we can also be regarded as a year-end friend, Tan Wenla said with a happy smile at this time. No wonder you want to buy the rights to A Song of Ice and Fire. If it's made with Marvel technology, it really shouldn't be a problem, but George said without speaking. Tan Wenla said, old man, I really like your novel. It is my honor to make him into a film and television drama in its entirety. If you think it is possible for us to cooperate again, you can mention any requirements. Kevin understood at this time. It turned out that the boss had read the novel script in George's hand. Boss, Marvel is focused on film production, which is slightly different from TV series. What's different? Tan Wenla asked. Hey, in fact, it's the same. The main thing is to look at investment. As long as there is money, nothing different, but people can be hired, but technology can be developed. Didn't Stanley come today? At this time, George suddenly spoke. The old man has been quite busy recently, and the old man is also old, so he doesn't like such noisy activities. Oh, can that old guy still hold a pen now? No, he works as the editor-in-chief at our Marvel Studios, and he has been busy changing the script with the company's people recently. After listening to Kevin's words, George seemed to have thought of something, glanced at Tan Wenla next to him and grinned. It seems that you Marvel have found a good boss, haha. Little one, the novel in the old man's hand, if you have really read it, you should know that he is very long. Tan Wenla nodded and said, of course I know. His production costs will be high. Sir, I am also the sole shareholder of Manchester United Club in the United Kingdom. George was stunned when he heard this, and then laughed. I really underestimate you as a little guy. That's it, as long as you can meet my several requirements, the film and television rights for the adaptation of A Song of Ice and Fire will be sold to you. Old man, you say. I will personally serve as the general director of this show, and I can also be a consultant, and the production process will be adapted according to my wishes. Yes, the production cost of each episode must not be less than $500 US dollars. 1000 W. What? George looked at Tan Wenla with a puzzled look and exclaimed, Mr. George, our boss has always chatted like this, Kevin quickly explained on the side. George looked at Tan Wenla with some incredulity, and said, I'm talking about an episode of 500 W, not the whole series 500 W. I'm also talking about 1000 W per episode, USD. If the old man is not worried, I can prepare $1 billion US dollars for you first, and the production budget of 100 episodes. What do you think? Ahem, after all, George is a little older, and after chatting with Tan Wenla, he seems to have a feeling that his limit is approaching. Kevin quickly stepped forward and stroked George's back. Old man, are you all right? Boss, aren't you going to hand over the $1 billion production reserve reserved for us Marvel to the old man? Kevin looked at Tan Wenla with a pitiful look and said, although The Song of Ice and Fire is George's life's work, the reunion movies are also their entire Marvel's life's work. Fart, can I still send you that little money? Am I okay with an extra $1 billion? Moreover, your $1 billion may not be used, look at your petty. Tan Wenla said to Kevin angrily. Hee, boss, aren't we scared? After Kevin listened to Tan Wenla's words, he immediately laughed. Boy, are you sure you're not having fun with the old man? Old man, let's talk first. How much does the copyright of your book cost? 1. Isn't 100 million a bit expensive? Although I am not inferior to this 100 million, it seems that there is number $100 million novel copyright so far, right? Tan Wenla smashed his mouth, putting on a feeling that he was about to be slaughtered. 115 million, George stammered in reply. I wipe. Kevin, go, call Max, now transfer money to the old man. When Tan Wenla heard the figure of 150W, he felt that he really picked up a big bargain. Heller, oh, alas, boy, I'm not done talking yet, you wait. Kevin heard George still have something to say, so he stopped, who knew that Tan Wenla waved his hand at this time, signaling for him to hurry up. Then, Kevin walked out without looking back. Old man, what else do you want? Just mention it. George glanced at Tan Wenla. How did he feel that he was a little forced to buy and sell? How did this day come about? I can sell you all the copyrights of A Song of Ice and Fire at once, but I want 1% of the film and television revenue. By Tan Wenla couldn't help but smack his tongue secretly in his heart. Tan Wenla has read the relevant reports about Game of Thrones in later generations. At that time, when this American drama came out in the 8th season, the single season profit hovered around a record of 1 billion. If it is calculated like this, 1 to 8 seasons should be able to create 8 billion in profit, if you add IMG's promotion ability, as well as the leaks cut in China. Tan Wenla feels that this drama can definitely help itself create more than $10 billion in 10 years. If so, didn't he still buy his copyright for $100 million? How about $1,000W? No, just 1% profit, George said very insistently. 3,000W. No. Snap. Tan Wenla gently patted the table and said, one price, 5,000W US dollars. At this time, Kevin walked in with Max, followed by Charlize Theron. Kevin looked at the two who were chatting with a confused look. Didn't he just say 150W? Chatting about 5,000W? It's over, I shouldn't have hesitated just now. When George heard Tan Wenla say 5,000W, he swallowed deeply. To be honest, he has never seen so much money in his entire life of writing. 5,000W US dollars, if you are not moved, it is fake. Last price 8,000W US dollars. Boss. Kevin and Max exclaimed at the same time. My God, are they sure they're talking about the copyright of the novel? At this time, George was also deeply entangled, and to be honest, he already had the idea of agreeing. However, his subconscious told him that Tan Wenla would definitely call the figure of 100 million. No, George once again rejected Tan Wenla's offer. He had to wait for Tan Wenla's new round of offers. Okay, then 1%, Max, transfer the money, and sign the contract in a moment. Episode 30. George looked at Tan Wenla with wide-old eyes, and said in his heart, why didn't you add it? In adding so many billion points, I may have nodded and agreed. Boss, how much to transfer? 150W, well, buy all the film and television rights in A Song of Ice and Fire. Oh, phew, okay, Mr. George, I'll transfer it directly to your private account. George looked at Max blankly and nodded. Mr. George, the money has been transferred, the contract thing? I'm going to draw it up with you now. George got up and said, okay, boss, then let's lose company first. This is Miss Charlize, you guys talk. Tan Wenla nodded to Max, and then hugged George and said, old man, I wish us a happy cooperation. Together, happy cooperation. George's heart felt unhappy at all. Why did he just have to be greedy for 2,000W? Why didn't he just nod and agree? After the two left, Tan Wenla closed his eyes and leaned limply on the sofa, sighing. Boss, is the script of that novel really that good? Not as strong as your Avengers, but it's not close. Even when I bought Ka, I felt like I had lost 100 million. And what did he meow back in dollars? Tan Wenla covered his face and said with some chagrin, why lost 100 million? Isn't it the copyright bought by 150W? That old fellow, I want 1% of my earnings. 1%? How much money can that have? $100 million. What? Boss, are you saying that this drama can earn more than 10 billion? Tan Wenla nodded weakly. This was the first time since he was reborn. He felt that he had lost money in trading with others. Oh my God, boss, you mean, if George's novel is remade into a film and television series, they can earn more than us in Marvel Studios? Kevin said dumbfounded. Who knows? Tan Wenla patted Kevin on the back and reprimanded. 10 years, if you can't even earn 10 billion for me, you will give me the place, collective, pack my bags, and go to God. Ahem, boss, there are still people here, Kevin quickly reminded at this time. At this time, Tan Wenla seemed to react, and there seemed to be a top Oscar actress standing behind him. And Miss Charlize, why do you stand when you come? Kevin, don't hurry up and ask Miss Charlize to sit down. Oh, yes, come, Charlize, sit down, let me introduce you. This is your IMG company, and the only boss of our Marvel Studios, Mr. Tan Wenla. Charlie sorted out his evening dress and sat down opposite Tan Wenla very gracefully. After Charlie sat down, he smiled beautifully. I really didn't expect my boss to be so young. Huh, so what do you think your boss should look like? Haha, I originally thought that the boss who can have such a large financial power to buy Marvel and can buy IMG should be a middle-aged potbelly, right? I didn't expect you to be so young, and besides, you still look like this. While saying this, Charlize dragged his jaw with his arm, leaned forward slightly, and said, so, cute. Then, Charlize was a smile upside down, staring at Tan Wenla affectionately. Tan Wenla quickly dodged. This old look, really not everyone can withstand it. Seeing that Tan Wenla did not dare to look directly at himself, Charlize smiled even more. Kevin couldn't help but cough softly on the side, motioning for Charlize to restrain slightly. Charlize glanced at Kevin, and casually said directly to Tan Wenla, can we talk alone? Kevin turned his head to look at Tan Wenla at this time. Tan Wenla nodded to him, and then Kevin got up and left. Kevin glared at Charlize warningly as he left. Charlize didn't seem to look at Kevin at all, and after Kevin left, she got up directly and sat down next to Tan Wenla. Boss, what do you want to talk about? Now let's continue talking. Tan Wenla felt the rich aroma coming from Charlize, which instantly stimulated his young and poor stress resistance to his soul. Theron, this movie about Iron Man. I took it. Oh, that's the price. The price is whatever you want, it's just. At noon the next day, Kevin's phone call pulled Tan Wenla out of his sweet sleep. Hello? Tan Wenla fan said with a confused stain. Boss, it's noon. Oh, I'm dripping. Aang, it's noon, what's the matter? Tan Wenla said a little tiredly. Oh, nothing, it's just Max said. Today I made an appointment with someone you want to meet. Boss, if you are tired, let me help you talk. Let's make an appointment tomorrow. Huh? Who did Max date? David Beckham. What? What time is it? Beckham will go to IMG headquarters in the afternoon. Let Max pick me up at MGM an hour early. Okay, boss. After Tan Wenla hung up the phone, he rubbed his forehead, and then lay down again. At this time an unknown object pressed towards Tan Wenla. My little darling, are you leaving? Well, there's someone very important to meet in the afternoon. Heavier than me, or? Which big beauty is it again? It's not a woman, it's a man. Alright, will you come back in the evening? Well, come back. Max, is it really okay for us to do this? Kevin, don't worry, as long as the boss is not angry, everything will be okay. Gee Max, you are really an old traitor, such a method, you can think of it. Kevin, we are working for the boss, we take such an expensive annual salary, naturally we have to do our best to serve the boss, of course, through some appropriate things, to find out the boss's temper, but also to better serve the boss in the future, right? Fac, such a brainy thing, let's leave it to you. I can't come, I'd better go back and concentrate on my film production.